Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Can't hear myself talk. Okay. I'm taking you through a sick day in my life. I had planned to record yesterday because yesterday was more of a clinical day, and I just was like feeling just tired. Like it's so sick. Like I just wanted to focus on my work and not have to think about the camera and things like that. So also I kept forgetting too, so there's that. So today I'm like, I have no therapy sessions, but I do have I do have other administrative things I have to do. I didn't want to take off, like I didn't want to cancel my sessions for yesterday because I felt like that was a heavy clinical day. Like I had a lot of appointments scheduled, and the thing about working for yourself is like you get paid for the work you do. You don't have like PTO and things like that. I mean, when you're more established, I know people like when they're more established and when they're making more money, they are able to put money aside for things like that, for PTO, like when they're sick and things like that. But I'm just starting out, so I don't have that. So I'm like, it's just a cold. I canceled my in-person sessions and just kept my virtual ones so that I'm not exposing other people to it. But basically, my husband got sick last weekend, and then my son, and then me and my daughter. So the whole house has got this cold. Yesterday my daughter had a fever, and she was the only one who was febrile. Right now she's sleeping, so she's still not feeling very good. And I feel better than yesterday, which is why I'm recording, because yesterday I was like, I just want to, but I still feel, sick, and you could probably tell by how I sound. So anyways, today is not a clinical day, but I do have some things I have to do. I have a supervision meeting, and that is, I've had like this, I usually have a supervision with her every other week, and then supervision with the psychologist every other week that I'm not meeting with her. Excuse, my desk is a mess. I have to organize my desk again. But anyway, yeah, so, but we've been meeting every week for the last like 3 weeks because we're doing this new thing. We have a contract with the court system to do assessments on juvenile sex offenders. So basically the assessments are to assess risk of reoffense, or risk of them offending not sexually but in some other way, or risk of them doing some other criminal activity. And then also you're supposed to do the assessment every 6 months to see like, is therapy being effective with them or not. Some of these kids we're going to be seeing in the clinic for therapy, and some we're not. Some are just for assessments. So I'm super excited about this assessment and learning how to do it, and how, just another way to like help the community and help these kids. Because like research shows that if you don't like have intervention with kids who sexually offend, or who have, a lot of the kids who have been sexually offended again. So if you don't do intervention on kids when they early on, basically, they have a higher chance of being like, sex offenders later. Not that every kid that gets abused is going to be a sex offender. The research doesn't show that, actually. It shows that most people are not, but people who abuse a lot of the times were victims themselves in the past. So it's helpful to help them out early on so that they can have the tools they need in life in the future to not offend someone else. Now these are kids though who have already offended, so we're trying to prevent them from offending again. So with that going on today, I also have another meeting with another contract. Like, I applied to do another 1099 contract to doing intensive outpatient therapy for teens and young adults, and it sounds like everything checks out as far as my references, and my interviews went well, I guess. And so I have one more meeting, he said, and then he can send me an offer, which sounds pretty promising. You wouldn't say that to somebody that you're just like, this isn't a good fit. So that is going to be something that I'll be doing, again, like I said, contract, and it's virtual therapy, so I'll be doing, I can choose whatever groups I want to do, and we're going to be using DBT, and there's already a curriculum laid out, so I just have to follow the curriculum and lead the groups. So that's exciting too. It's just another way to supplement income and fill my hours, and while still maintaining the autonomy that I want as a clinician and as a mom, you know, that mostly stays home with the kids. I just really need that kind of flexibility, so that's helpful. And then I also, this had nothing to do with today, but like my other supervisor from a different contract, she is going to start referring to some victims or survivors of domestic violence through a different program to me for telehealth. And I don't really know too much about the program yet. She just emailed me about it yesterday, but I have to get like a higher level of background clearance and like get my fingerprints done next week. So I, you know, signed up for that yesterday. So just a lot of things going on, a lot of promising things about to help me finish out my hours, and also just to keep, you know, an income, if that makes sense. And you know, I'm excited to like for these opportunities to practice my, you know, clinical skills and hone them more and stuff. So anyways, it's going to be a low-key day for me. I'm going to be focusing on housework, resting as much as I can, and then taking care of the kids, obviously, and like the meetings, basically. So come along with me. All right, so I'm recording this voiceover, I think like a week later. I'm still sick, much better than I was on this day though. And I did try my best to do a full vlog in this, but it cut out like at the end, you'll see, because my memory card got full, and at that point I was just like, I don't feel like doing this anyway, so let's just call it a wrap. But anyway, what I ended up doing, what you'll see in this video is me reading and studying. So what I'm reading is an assessment for assessing juvenile sex offenders. Basically, the goal of it is to see if they're going to offend again, like what's the likelihood of them doing that. And it's a measurement to really just like also measure over time, like over a course of treatment. So every 6 months you're supposed to use this measure to see if treatment, you know, basically is working or not. One thing I'll say that I've learned from my previous clinical supervisor is that a lot of times with people who offend, are sex offenders, it's very hard for them to stop being sex offenders. Even like if they're castrated, they might still they might still do the behaviors. So it's very interesting. And I actually know when I was a dialysis technician, we had sex offenders who needed dialysis treatment, and I remember that even when they were like castrated, like some of them would still make advances at the technicians or nurses. So like I thought that was very interesting, also horrible, but also very interesting. All that's to say, like, kids usually have a better like outcome or like outlook because their brains are still developing, so those pathways, like those neural pathways aren't as solidified as an adult offender's brain, and so they can still learn new ways of being and how to kind of deal with the urges that they have and things like that. So anyways, I'm still just learning about it. I'm not an expert by any means in it. So that's why I was reading the manual. I also have to do a training on it as well. And then so what I just showed you here is I am studying for my board exam. I'm supposed to take that in June. I'm kind of in denial that I'm taking it. But yeah, it's coming up, creeping up. Early June I'll be taking that. And so it was just, that's the Purple Book Encyclopedia of Counseling. Basically everybody swears by it for the NCE is what I'm taking. So I've been studying a little bit every day, and then I'm also listening to his audio tapes or audio CDs as well in conjunction with it to help me like really solidify like the content in my head. Some of it I'm like, I read it or I listen to it, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. And some of it I'm like, this is the first time I'm ever hearing of anything like this. And some of it I'm like, oh, I remember this vaguely. And so I'm on like a spectrum of like, I don't know what that is, to, oh yeah, I know that. So that's where I'm at right now. This day was like absolutely miserable. I had like, it felt like my whole head was like just clouded and stuffy and gonna explode, and then I had to take care of both the kids by myself and work, which was just so fun. I don't remember what day this was, but so in the beginning of the video I said that I had a contract interview and that went well. I was offered the contract. So right now, as I'm recording this voiceover, I'm finishing pre-boarding tasks. So they have like a lot of things that they want you to do because it is like a national company. They have clients from all over the country. So you have to like do all sorts of different things. I always thought you couldn't do counseling for people that are in other states if your license is in a specific state, but apparently their clinic is licensed in multiple states. So you can, I'm doing group therapy, so you can end up, you know, counseling someone in a different state apparently. I don't know, I have to look into that more, but basically because of that, because they work with clients from all over the country, I have to do all sorts of things for that counselors might have to do in different states. Like they have, Pennsylvania has their own like sex offender, or is it sex offender or is it just child abuse in general? I don't know, but it's like child abuse something registry background check thing I had to do, even though I don't live in Pennsylvania, and I have to do 3 different fingerprint things. I'm like, I don't understand why I can't just do 1 set of fingerprint tests or whatever it's called, but I have to do 3, whatever. Like it's all just like a lot. So I'm working through that. I have like 2 weeks to basically complete that before I start seeing clients, doing group, like I said, group therapy for teens and young adults. On the private practice front, since I'm still sick this week, I'm still not seeing people in person. I don't want to get anybody else sick. And I'm on the phone here talking to, that's another development. My car got rear-ended a few weeks ago, and I've had to deal with that. So that was the shop calling to let me know that the car would be ready for pickup the next day, which was awesome because that was like a week earlier than what they told me it would be ready. So that was like a positive thing. Man, I've been through the ringer these last 3 weeks. First the car gets rear-ended, and then I get mastitis, and an update on that. I don't even know if I've mentioned it in a previous video or not, but I had mastitis 2 weeks ago now, and I basically it was horrible. I was throwing up, had a fever, chills obviously, nausea. I couldn't even sit up without being dizzy. And I went to urgent care. They gave me antibiotics and confirmed that it was mastitis. I ended up losing most of my milk supply. I literally maybe made like half an ounce one day. And mind you, like I used to make 40 ounces in my peak time, and more recently, like stably making around 32 ounces for my son. And so to go from that to like basically nothing was hard. But I also told myself, like, my goal was to get to a year. He's 11 months now. Like, if I have to stop now, I'll have to stop now. I don't want to start all over and start power pumping and try and build it all back up when I'm so close to being done at this point. So what I've basically been doing is I power pumped just to get it up a little bit more. And I'm probably making around 8 to 10 ounces a day right now. And anything I'm not making, he's just having formula. And you know, so he's probably having like 2 bottles a day. That's breast milk, and everything else is formula. And it is what it is. I'm not like, if I were at the 6-month mark, I'd probably be taking it harder. And I probably would start over if I were at the 6-month mark or something like that. But since it's so close to 1 year, I'm like, whatever. I'm doing my best over here, and it is what it is. And then the week after mastitis, I get this freaking cold from my husband, who knows where he got it from, and he got everybody else sick, and my daughter had a fever, and then he went to work, and he got the people at work sick, so it's like, so I'm like, oh my goodness, like, I told him, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna end up having next week, like, what is the new illness, or what is the new, like, thing that I'm gonna have to deal with next week, and next week was last week, and nothing happened, so we're good. I think we're good now. But yeah, this is about to cut out soon probably. So thank you for watching my video, and make sure to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me, and just keep up with like how private practice is going and all that jazz.